Hi, I'm Assemblyman Ryan Peters, and this is Assemblyman Brian Bergen. And we're here on the reaction couch, responding to Governor Murphy's address to the NJBIA Policy Forum of December 9th. Let's watch it and see what happens.
Good intro, bro.
Our administration is laser focused on supporting New Jersey's businesses and ensuring a quick recovery from the financial crisis that has sprung from the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mr. Bergen, what do you think?
Well, I think that's the overstatement of the century. This year alone, they increased corporate business tax by 2.5%, pulling $210 million away from our businesses. You can't even open a restaurant now, right?
Yeah, I think the lockdown makes it tough to say we want businesses open. We had an incentive bill passed where we picked and choose our winners now.
That's
so
right.
If, with the highest taxes, you wouldn't have to pick and choose your businesses. The incentive would be to come to New Jersey and not say, come to New Jersey, we have the highest taxes, but if we like you, we'll give you a tax incentive.
Yeah, but you can have a cheeseburger at 7 o'clock, but not at 10:15 though. That's important.
The good news is they isolated the virus from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that way we know it's then, and then you'll be fine.
Well, good job, Governor, on that.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the only thing unprecedented about this whole thing is the guy listens to nobody. It's an army of one there making all the decisions, and he doesn't consult us, and that's why most of what he says and does is just ludicrous.
Yeah, I think your bill, one of the few bills that I like, actually puts the focus back in the legislature. Instead of ruling by edict, we could actually have, unprecedented would be just ruling by one man all of New Jersey and cutting out the legislature from all decisions. I mean, half the time when he makes a ruling or passes an edict out, we got to look around and find out what it means, because we don't know any more than he did. We hear it on the press conferences and we go, I don't know, you figure this out. Absolutely. I think that's what's unprecedented.
Thanks for liking my bill too, man. I like that.
That's good. Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
We are making choices in the best interest of our residents.
Didn't he say at one point that he doesn't listen to anything that anybody says? But didn't he say that?
I think a lot of my residents or my constituents would disagree and feel that he's making a lot of decisions in their best interest. Certainly there's some clear ones: wear a mask, socially distance, but the full lockdown, I don't know that that's in most of my residents or districts' best interest. I mean, the economic downfall that comes from this, that's entirely self-imposed. Shutting all business down, small businesses, so that they can't come through. That's going to take the longest to cure, not just the pandemic that we're fighting right now.
One of my favorite things he did in our best interest was shutting down the parks and the trails. That was one of my great job, Governor. That was real cool.
And as I have said many times before, economic health will follow public health.
You know, the economic impact it's having is lead to a public health crisis: increased opioid use, higher suicide rates than in World War II. And he doesn't seem to connect all these dots, and it's getting to be absurd.
Yeah, isolation, alcohol sales is way up.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's one of the small businesses maybe roaring is alcohol sales. And I think that's just due to the isolation. There's going to be third and fourth order effects, as we say, that will follow this pandemic. So.
That's right, but he legalized pot, so
yeah,
maybe that'll help. We'll see.
And I know everyone is eagerly awaiting our new incentive program. We are currently in the process of revising our tax incentives to align with state programs, with our goal of building a stronger economy that works not just for some, but for all of New Jersey.
Yeah, well, we just voted on this not too long ago. What he's trying to do with this incentive program is have this small group of people at the EDA, political appointees, dish out $14 billion over 7 years. You know what I'd rather he did? Just cut our taxes by $14 billion over 7 years. How about that?
Yeah, one of the things I actually worked with him on it was putting an inspector general in charge, because the last one was so misused and abused. There's people under criminal investigation, indictment based on the last tax incentive. I think in the end it was 225 pages of the bill, and within that 225 pages plus, there's certain parts in there where they're going to advantage people over others. Mm-hmm. They're going to be connected to political bosses, and then around and around the cycle goes. And I think there's just a really simple way to do it. lower our taxes and not have government involved in who's going to come in and get the corporate welfare that we're going to dole out, and what
right.
favors we're giving in the smoke-filled rooms to these people of control.
Yeah, and to steal a line from you, which I love this line actually. I don't want to give you too much credit, but
Yeah,
you
you
know,
love me.
we're not red and
Don't
blue.
count.
We're red, white, and blue. And this bill this incentive package is just un-American.
Yeah. So it's not the party of red. We're not the party of blue. We're the party of red, white, and blue. So I'll allow you, just work on it. We'll work through it.
All right, man.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Can't all be as talented as you.
We have the best public education system in the entire United States.
So I agree with him. We have a great public education system. We do a great job. However, it's not fully funded. And this is another thing he could use the incentive money for, to fully fund our education system so that we could stop the crippling property taxes. And he's just not doing it.
Well, I think the second other part of having a great education system is we develop really smart people who come
That's
out
right.
of these institutions. And then what happens? They go to get a job. There's either not a job for them, or then once they get a job, they can't afford to have a house or live
Yep.
here or live with mom and dad for years. So what do? They leave.
That's right.
That's the main problem, is we're an outsource to all the other states, because no one can afford to live here until you go out and you're in your mid 30s and you can actually afford to pay thousands and thousands of taxes to go to pork projects and to fund some political boss's golf course up north. And
That's right.
when you do that, we're just educating them and then outsourcing them. So it's a absolutely great education system. No one can afford to live here once they graduate.
Yeah.
It's a good model.
We just spent $14 billion to fund different corporate programs. Maybe we should kick a little of that to the vets.
Yeah, and then what that does is, when it comes time to retire, a lot of people like New Jersey,
Yeah.
they want to stay here, they move out. So there's a big swath of veterans there, and then they look around and go, well, what about this? And
Right.
there's the other states are doing things, and we're not taking it as seriously. And then you look to certainly nursing homes, those who went out and fought our nation's wars. We thank them by throwing a pandemic right into their home. So we could certainly do better for sure.
I agree.
I am proud of our revised budget, which will encourage a quick economic recovery and avoid austerity measures that would only serve to handicap our state.
Yeah, see, oh my God, it's ridiculous. He raised the budget by $6 billion over 3 years. And do you remember when they came up for this $9.9 billion borrowing plan, they were saying how if they didn't borrow it, the police were going to not be able to be paid, and the teachers. And then they ended up borrowing money anyway and putting it into a surplus to improve our credit.
When you talk about austerity measures, these are austerity measures he's talking about. Was the last budget where he had the freeze of $200 million. What were they? Pork projects. They
Right,
were all
they were.
different projects that we didn't need anyway. He ended up releasing the money for it. So austerity measures can be, hey, the Turtleback Zoo doesn't need $40 million to build a new amphitheater. You know what? That could be cut out of our budget.
That's right.
And not raising taxes. But you know what? Then all of their patronage positions would go away, and then you sort of lose power. So, what is happening? The people paying the taxes are leaving. The people who want the free stuff are coming in. And so it's the outmigration of wealth and a rising population of people that we're going to have to continue to help. So it'd be nice to not have that.
I know most people don't know, but they should know that the budget during a pandemic year, our budget went up. Still just blows my mind that we would spend more money in the following a pandemic year. It's unbelievable.
Well, we only borrowed $4.5 billion, so
Yeah, well,
it should only take another 20 years to pay off that interest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Appreciate you sitting in and listening to us on a couch, and I hope you'll join us next time.